I would like to think that I got everything ready to go. Well, ready or not, here I come. So, I'm gonna make some fried rice tonight. I've never actually made fried rice before. I like it, and for some reason I just never got around to it. But I'm gonna fire up the wok and see what I can get done with that, and we'll see how it goes. Let me get over here where I can do my thing, and we'll get started. Just warm enough in here to be a little bit too warm. And let me get the wok down in the fire. I got it kind of preheated already a bit. Got a little fire going here. I think that should be hot enough for frying. Set that down in the hole and get her good and warm. Got everything I need here. I got some rice that I cooked yesterday. Been sitting in the fridge since. I got some frozen peas and carrots. I got some chopped shallots. You're supposed to use green onions, but I like shallots better. I don't mind green onions. They're okay, but I like shallots better. Got all the other bits and pieces I'm supposed to have, I think. I got some shrimp that I'm going to throw in there, make shrimp fried rice. That's good and hot. We start off with some oil, a couple of tablespoons. Get that going. We throw in my shallots. Almost splashed myself. Got some chopped garlic. We'll throw that in there. Oops, everything's tipping over. Give her a little bit of garlic. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. There's my wok shovel. Stir that around, get them cooking a little bit. Okay, that's starting to brown. I got some peas and carrots frozen, which haven't been thawed. You stay away from my cord, pussycat. Got them thawed out good. That's 1 cup of frozen peas and carrots. I'm gonna throw my shrimp in now. This is kind of semi-frozen. They're already cooked, so really all I gotta do is thaw them and heat them through. And these are just little tiny shrimp. A little more. We'll get them cooked through. Hit it with a little salt. A little pepper. I'll let this cook through a bit. My wok is kind of cooling off. I don't think I want it quite that cool. Let me check my fire. I think my fire is doing good. It's just got to cook some of that water off. And I can give her some more air. That'll kick things up. Let that water cook out so it gets good and hot again when I throw my rice in. That's picking up some speed. And now I got 4 cups of cooked rice. This was cooked yesterday and put in the fridge because apparently that's the best way of doing it. I'll kind of break that up as I dump her in. That's really sticky. Now, whoops. Trying to get all these lumps broke up in there. I probably should have rinsed that rice before I put it in the fridge, and it wouldn't have been quite so sticky. But overall, I think we're good. What I need to do now is hit her with some soy sauce. A little bit of sesame oil. Not too much. You gotta be careful with sesame oil because it can be a bit overpowering. Okay, I need a couple of eggs. Couple of eggs. Beat them up. And then I've got to get my rice off to one side a bit. make room for it. Give her a little bit more oil. In go the eggs. Want to get them cooked up. Probably shouldn't have stirred the rice into the eggs right away. Probably should have let them cook a little bit more before I stirred them in, but I think we'll be okay. I think we're just about done. So I will take this off of the heat. Well, out of the direct fire anyway. Stir that through just a little bit more. Now I'll get it up and out of the heat entirely. I'm going to close the camera down. Well, I should be able to swing it over a little bit. For right now, all right, that's up off the heat. That should be okay. All right, I should be pretty good shape here with the fried rice. Now I'm going to close the camera down and move stuff around, and I'll be right back with you here in a second. Put that here. Move my microphone. Damn it. Big noises. Okay, move the mic. Move the camera. And I'll try and get caught up with the comments because I couldn't see a damn one of them while I was over there cooking. I think I got this moved. There. And I get the camera adjusted a bit before I move everything. Kill the lights I need to kill. All right. Hey, there I am. Kinda. Get this out of the way. Gonna dish myself up some rice. Here we are back. Myself moved in. Adjust the camera so I'm not quite so cockeyed. Let's see, need to tighten that one. Loosen this one. There, we're leveled up a little better. And let's see, swing over. You can kind of see the camera stuff there, but that is really hot. There is some fried rice. Shrimp fried rice. We'll see how it turned out. I probably should have cooked the egg a bit more before I stirred it in, so I got more little chunks and bits of egg. But I think it's going to be all right. There's still some in there. You get a shrimp. Needs a little bit more salt and pepper, but it's pretty good otherwise. I'm happy with it. The rice isn't mushy. Like I said, I probably should have. How's my kitty? She is right back there creating chaos. Hey! Hang on a second. I had to move her cat tower over. She's sitting on it right now. I don't know if you can quite see her there. I had to move her cat tower over, and that put her within reach of the paper towel, which she was trying to tear off the roll, so I had to put an end to that. Now, kind of prefer larger egg chunks. Yeah, like I said, I should have let the eggs cook a bit more before I stirred it up. Always use day old rice. Yeah, that was day old rice, but like I said, it probably would have been better off to give it a rinse before I put it in the fridge, and then it wouldn't have been quite so sticky. But it isn't too bad. And like I say, it needs a little salt and pepper, or a little soy sauce and pepper, probably. Jimmy Langford, your son gave you a new wok. You've never made fried rice. We'll try it soon. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time I've ever actually made fried rice, and it turned out fairly good. Pretty good first attempt, I would say. Minnie's eating good tonight. Yeah, I'll give her a little bit here once I get going. Needs more eggs. Yeah, I probably could have used 3 eggs instead of 2, maybe. Would have been a little more, but not too terribly bad. Love the spatula. Yeah, that's a basic wok shovel, and they are handy as hell. I mean, you can't beat having one, even if you don't have a wok. I highly recommend getting a wok shovel just because they're handy. Probably the most useful kitchen tool you'll ever own. Looks like your Wagner tea kettle on the stove. That's because it is a Wagner tea kettle on the stove. It's gotten a little water spotted and rust from the water on the outside. I got to shine it up again. But I went through and polished that up nice, and it really looks good when it's all clean and shiny. Put on my welding hat. I should. I don't know where the damn thing went. Paper towel off, water so shrimp not so rubbery. I probably should have thawed them all the way and let them drain so they were a little bit drier because I didn't need quite that much water in there. That might have soaking up that water might have made the rice a little bit stickier than it needed to be too. I want a number 3 flaky pot today. Cool. Bid 16 fit, play 1750 max bid just for the hell of it. One. Yeah, sometimes you get lucky. I mean, it's just the way auctions work. Sometimes there'll be 25 people after the same thing, and sometimes you're the only one and you can get it for next to nothing. Let's see here. I'm gonna get back here where the left off on the comments. Was the rice washed? No, I had just put it in the fridge last night. Like I said, I probably should have rinsed it. I mean, I usually don't rinse my rice when I'm cooking with rice, so I didn't think of it until I started making this. But yeah, I probably should have washed the rice. Do you season before or after cooking? Kind of depends on what I'm making. Like I said, this could use a little bit more salt and pepper, or soy sauce and pepper would probably be better. But it ain't bad. And a lot of things I season as I'm cooking, so that's still insanely hot. I don't know how Chinese food manages to get so hot. Even when you get at a Chinese restaurant, it seems like it's twice as hot as it's actually possible for something to be. It's just kind of an oddity about it, I guess. Cat shouldn't have any salt. All right. Well, I don't usually give my cat really salty stuff, but like I said, I'll probably give her a little taste of this. Throw her a shrimp or two. It shouldn't be too bad once in a while. Somebody making collard greens. I like turnip greens better than collards. Collards are okay though, a little bit on the bitter side, but yeah, I've had some pretty good collard greens. Usually with egg or anything with egg, it's best to season after. Okay. Yeah, when I'm frying eggs, I usually salt and pepper and kind of towards the end. Same with scrambled eggs. I'll get them started and salt and pepper them while they're still liquidy on top anyway before I start stirring them up. These specially built stoves similar to jet burners. Yeah, they usually got that fire ring back in the kitchen. You hear them cranking it up and it just blasts heat. But yeah, somehow or other they managed to get it just meltingly hot for everything. Any veggies in my fried rice? Peas and carrots are in there. Shivering under an electric blanket. Heat's fine, but you caught cold or something. Yeah, If I'm cold and shivery, it's usually a pretty bad sign. It means I'm about to collapse with sickness. Your wife gave you her cold. Nice out today, but didn't feel like doing anything after work. Yeah, I got stuff to do outside, and it's gonna start. Oh, it's already started. It's gonna start snowing fairly heavy tonight. We're supposed to get 6, 7 inches or so, and then for the weekend, it turned nice and cold. Lows down around 20 below. It's a little early this time of year for that sort of thing. Usually, you see it more in January, but it can get quite cold in December, and it's going to. Years. Let's see here. Saw a cool video. A guy seasoning a brand new wok at the Chinese restaurant. Ran every inch of it over a jet burner, and the whole thing was seasoned in about a minute. Yeah, I think I seen that. He, basically heated it up till it turned blue all around, and that's pretty much it. Hit it with a little oil, and away you go. So yeah, both stoves going. I do at the moment. It's like I said, it's not too bad out right now. It's probably around 20. So I got a little fire going in the big stove, and I got the fire going in here, of course, to cook with. But I'll let this burn out and just keep the big stove going overnight. But when it gets really cold, I'll uh, I'll run both stoves. Get the heater stove going in the living room for most of the heat, and get this one here going to kind of take the chill off of the other corners of the house. Do I have a plow on my truck? I got one on my tractor, and that works pretty good. You're not that bad. You got the sore muscles, the stuffed head, and you're shivering, but no serious symptoms. Not throwing up or anything. Yeah, like I said, usually once I start getting cold and shivery, it's going to turn bad before too much longer. I hope you got my wood done. You did. Got everything all cut and split, and over the week of Thanksgiving, I had some help and got the trailer loaded up. But by the time I got around to getting the trailer up to the house, it had snowed, so I can't back it up to the porch like I normally do because you just can't get quite enough traction. Because it is heavy as hell when you got the wagon fully loaded, and you just can't quite get enough grab to push it back. But I do have it up in the yard, so it's not too far away. It's not a really big deal. That demonstrates why your stoves can't match what you get at a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, you have to have that specialized ring burner like that to really get the full effect. But you can get kind of close with a wood stove, setting the wok right down into the fire, but still not the same. You don't get quite as high of a temperature. Still just a little sweaty from standing over the stove. Yeah, I can't imagine how in a long dress and corsets and petticoats it could have stood standing over a wood stove for hours a day. your great great grandma was made of sterner stuff. They also use carbon steel walks. Yeah, they're usually pretty thin, so there's nothing really between. There's not a whole lot to stop the heat from coming through. So they heat up real fast. When you throw something cold in there, the wok recovers faster than a heavy cast iron one would. Probably with all the windows open in the winter, wind blasting. For free heat, you give it a try. Yeah, wood's a lot of work for free heat, but still can't beat it. Did I pick up anything this week? No, I didn't. Didn't get anything new this week. Didn't get out really to do any looking, and didn't see anything interesting on auction sites. Let's see here. Well, I don't have it handy. I got it a couple of weeks ago with some other stuff. It's a cool old meat tenderizer. It's a big cast iron stomper for tenderizing meat. You know, always wanted the hand hammered wok from China from the TV commercial. Remember that one? No, I don't really remember the hand hammered wok from China. Melanie Matson, nice to see you. It's okay to be late. Slowly going to renovate your house at 70 miles from there. Have a wood stove in the house and one in the shed. You'll use clean cast. Yeah, that'd work out good. You can fire up the wood stove, use it for seasoning. When the electric goes out, you'll love wood heat. Yeah, even without electricity, you can definitely get her warmed with the wood heat. I got fans that I run to move the heat around, but I can get away with it without them. So I did good Thursday at the auctions. One Walmart pan went for $2. You walked away and you did get a case of Lucky Charms for your throws. You got 10 years till you retire, so it'll be nice when you move back in. Yeah, you can get her going and get it all ready for you to just move in when you're ready to call it quits. Your cats love the fireplace. Yeah, Minnie loves the cook stove. In fact, she's laying there. You can just kind of see her feet, the white bits of her, those little white spots under the stove. Is Minnie. She likes it right there, or by the uh, by the big stove in the living room. Corey asking again if I have a snowplow on my truck. No, I don't. I have a snowplow on my tractor. So, question: the ham and potato soup has sour cream and whipping cream in it. How long is it good for? A plastic lid, and you airtight as much as I can. 3 days, then freeze in the freezer. Yeah, it should be good for probably 3 or 4 days in the fridge, and then if you vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer, you should be able to get about 6 months out of it. Although the cream, does kind of break down a little bit faster than it was just like ham and bean soup. When you add dairy to it, it doesn't stay as long. But yeah, shouldn't have too much of a problem with 3 or 4 days in a fridge. You don't have a vacuum seal, but you do have gallon bags. It should hold up pretty good. I mean, even without vacuum sealing it, just Ziploc bags, you probably get 3 4 months out of it real easy. I don't know if I go much longer than that with just the Ziplocs because you can never quite get all the air out of them, and that little bit of oxygen does make a difference even in the freezer. So, but yeah, you should be able to get a few months out of it. Yeah, I don't have a vacuum sealer either. I got to get one. I used to have one that was given to me, and that it was old when I got it, and it lasted a while, and then it broke down, and I just never got around to replacing it. How much bourbon to how many vanilla beans to make vanilla extract? I use about a dozen vanilla beans, and I put them in Grolsch bottles. I have one right near the hand. I usually do, but I put them in Grolsch beer bottles. The kind with the wire bail, and just I cut the beans in half because they fit in there a little better, and it seems to get the flavor a little better too. Cut the beans in half, drop them in the bottle, and fill the bottle up with vanilla, and you get a good or bourbon, and you get a good strong extract after a few months. So those are I think those are 12 or 16 ounce. I forget if they're a full pint or if they're 12 ounce bottles. A dozen vanilla beans, money. Yeah, but you can use them pretty much forever. Once you got the once it's sat for like 3 months, I think is usually kind of the minimum, 3 or 4 months. Once it's sat and extracted, as you run down, you can top it off. Or if you really want to, you can get a couple of bottles going. When one gets down, you top it off, set it aside, and use the other one. Just keep switching them back and forth as you use your vanilla. And the beans will last forever. Well, not forever, but they'll last for years until they start, pretty much completely falling apart. Do you split your beans? No, I don't split them lengthwise. I just cut them in half crossways, and that seems to open them up a little bit better and makes them extract a bit faster. I'll use 3 beans per cup. Yeah, that's less than I use. I suppose I would be using 6 beans per cup if it's a 16 ounce bottle. I think the Grolsch are 12. I can't remember offhand, but they work really good. Can't say I've ever seen just a vanilla bean. Never really looked. Oh yeah, they're out there. You can, they're a long, skinny, dried brown bean. Nothing like a drunk vanilla bean. Yeah, you can use just You can use plain vodka. You can use Everclear 151. You can, and that'll give you more of a straight plain vanilla flavor. But bourbon really goes well with vanilla. So if you use bourbon for the alcohol, gives it a really nice flavor. The bourbon vanilla. They're tasty when you get them, but they can be pretty overwhelming if you ever do it for ice cream. Yeah, some maraschino cherries and Everclear, they're good. Oh yeah, cherry bounce or maraschino cherries and brandy is really good. Is cheap bourbon okay? Yeah, you could probably use cheap bourbon. I mean, better bourbon will taste better. I use Wild Turkey 101. It's got a little more alcohol, does a little bit more extracting, and I like the taste. And it's not hugely expensive. It's a little bit better, more expensive than the cheapest bourbon, but it's not some $125 for a bottle of the more connoisseur kind of stuff. But yeah, you could use Jim Beam or some of the cheaper bourbons if you wanted to. If you're trying Jack Daniels, that'd probably work. Yeah, I mean it's the alcohol that extracts the flavor from the vanilla beans, and the rest of it is kind of whether it goes with it or not. Like I said, bourbon really complements the flavor of the vanilla. And I think most whiskeys probably would. Jack Daniels got a little bit more of the little more rye flavor to it. Or like I said, you can use vodka or Everclear, which is just a neutral alcohol. It doesn't really have a flavor of its own. Like vanilla made with silver or white rum. Kraken rum also provides great flavor. Yeah, there's a million different things. You can make cinnamon extract too with vodka and cinnamon sticks. I forget how many sticks per. I think it's like 6 sticks for 8 ounces of liquor. But you can't just leave it set in there forever like you do vanilla beans. You only want to leave the cinnamon sticks in there for about 10 or 12 weeks is the max. After that, they start to over extract and they'll start getting flavors out of the bark that you don't want. It'll make it nasty. But if you let it go for about 10 or 12 weeks, it makes a real nice extract. Sam's Club has $400 bourbon. I mean, there's bourbons out there that's going for well over $1,000 a bottle. It's like whiskeys and wines, and there's prices that are just insane for some of them. Whether they're that much better that it's worth that kind of money, I really doubt it. But I'll stick to Wild Turkey for my bourbon, or Maker's Mark now and then. Maker's Mark's pretty good. If you want immediate vanilla flavor without extract, you can make vanilla bean paste. Uses whole vanilla beans, plus you get the flecks in your cooking. Yeah, vanilla ice cream with a little brown vanilla flecks in it. Kathy's, yeah. And there's a lot of them where whiskey versus bourbon, don't know the difference. It's basically the recipe of the mash, what grains you use, and it makes a difference what kind of wood the casks you age it in. I think bourbon has to be aged in new white oak casks, by law to call it bourbon. And you have to have a certain percentage of corn and rye and wheat and barley for bourbon, where most of your whiskeys, especially Scotch and Irish whiskeys, are a lot more barley based, where a lot of the American whiskeys have a lot more corn in them, corn and barley. But yeah, it depends on the recipe and the kind of wood that you age the whiskey in after you distill it, and whether they're new barrels or old barrels. Like I say, I'm pretty sure uh, bourbon has to be aged in new oak barrels, at least for the first few years. Then you can sometimes they'll finish it in a different type of barrel. You see where they're aged in sherry casks or different kind of used barrels, for their finishing aging. Writer's Tears Irish is really smooth. Should do good. Yeah, a good smooth whiskey with your vanilla beans is the way to go. Your favorite so far is Ugandan beans in the Kraken rum, made double fold. That sounds like it'd be pretty good. Like I said, the vanilla and bourbon, vanilla and rum would really go together well too. So you should be doing well if you make your vanilla with rum. Going off on the extract tangent. I mean, there are a lot of different kind of extracts that you can make from flavorings that you usually buy in the store. Like I said, vanilla, cinnamon extract. They used to use a lot of it, and you see a lot of it in old cookbooks. It's not it's not used very much anymore. I don't really know why it kind of fell out of favor, but it's a great flavor. And like I said, it's easy to make. You just can't let the cinnamon sticks soak in the alcohol too long. But with a little bit of study and research, you can come up with things like mint extract, spearmint, peppermint, different types of mint, wintergreen, all kinds of different, extracts that you make with alcohol for flavoring. I used food saver bags for years, so the food saver is so expensive and don't work so well right across these at Maureen's Kitchen brand. They're awesome. Yeah, like I say, I've been meaning to get a vacuum sealer, so I'm sure I'll get one eventually. How's the chest healing? It's doing good. Still, if I cough suddenly or sneeze suddenly without a warning, to kind of grab it, you can feel it kind of crackling a bit, almost like cracking your knuckles, and that seems like it's mostly the bottom couple inches of my sternum is where the noise is coming from. But as far as that, it isn't sore anymore. There was no real pain, or I'm sure I could pull too hard on something, but there's no real limitation. So I say it's pretty well healed up. just a matter of getting that last little bit to knit. Making the most neutral Everclear distilled water and vanilla, certain ratio of water to Everclear. It sounds like a bunch of backwood whiskey makers on here. Yeah, it's a lot of subtle little things that make a big difference. Just vanilla extract. I'll already have most of it set up to start blackberry wine. Blackberry wine is good. I mean, I like blackberries in general. So I like blackberries better than raspberries. A lot of the raspberries are good, but you get kind of a saccharine aftertaste sometimes, which I'm not really a fan of. Am I sleeping in my bed lately? Yeah, I have been, for a goodish while now. But yeah, the first month, maybe 5 weeks after surgery, I had to sleep in the recliner because you couldn't quite lay down flat. You get laid down flat, and your shoulders would relax and it'd pull, which really hurt. But I finally got to the point where I could lay flat. Yeah, since then I've been sleeping in bed. Took a while because you want to roll over in your sleep, which would put pressure on things weird and kind of hurt for a while. But that's definitely gotten better too. He'll stick to McCormick. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just going ahead and buying some extracts instead of monkeying around making your own. But they can be just so ridiculously expensive sometimes. I mean, a little tiny, you know, ounce or 2 ounce bottle for $7. Get homemade vanilla extract, no going back. It is a lot better, honestly. Even the ones you make with something neutral like vodka or Everclear, you do get a really nice taste out of them. But like I said, the bourbon ones are fantastic too. Is a 10-inch Victoria skillet worth $30? Ah, that's a bit high. I mean, you can usually get them cheaper than that. Yeah, I mean, I see Victoria's usually around 15 for a 10-inch. So 30 is kind of high. They are kind of getting a little bit more popular, especially the ones that are marked made in Colombia. But yeah, 30 is high for one. You can usually get them a lot cheaper than that. I hear that Mexican vanilla is better than Madagascar. I don't really know. I'm not that much of a connoisseur of the vanilla. And I guess the same applies to cinnamon. There's a real true cinnamon, because cinnamon is the bark of a cinnamon tree. But there's a couple other trees that have bark which is basically the same thing, only it's different. But that's what all the commercial cinnamon nowadays is I think it's a cassia tree, and it's in the same family as the cinnamon, but true cinnamon is from like Sri Lanka for the most part, southern India, somewhere around there. Trust me, only McCormick for special occasions, Dollar Tree brand seasonings around here. Yeah, I get a lot of spices whenever they're on sale, 2 for 1, or they're clearancing out things. Does Amazon have those shovel spatulas? Yes, they do. That's where I got this one. In fact, just search around Amazon for a wok shovel or a wok tool set, and yeah, there's a million different variations of them. But yeah, the wok shovel is you get one, you wonder how you live so long without one. Your daughter brought you some Mexican vanilla. It's extraordinary. Extraordinary. Yeah, a lot of people. It's one of the souvenirs they bring back from a trip to Mexico is a big bottle of Mexican vanilla. Anyhow, just about time to wrap it up here. We got 56 minutes left. Overall, I'd say I'm pleased with my first attempt at fried rice making. Next time, I'll be sure and rinse the rice before I put it in the fridge, and a little more salt and pepper on it, and probably thaw the shrimp out completely first, so you don't get get moisture out of that. But overall, it's pretty good, and I'll know better how to do it next time. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap her up here. Go back to eating the rest of my fried rice, and then put a bunch of it in the fridge because it does make quite a bit. 4 cups, 4 cups of rice seems to make seems to almost double just by adding a little bit of other things. And I'll see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see what we do next week. I never know until it's almost time to do the show what I'm going to be doing. So I'll see you guys then. I hope you enjoyed the show, and good night.